Hi, good afternoon. This is York County Executive Ed Day. We're here for our weekly COVID update, in addition to other items that are going on in York County government. I want to thank you all for joining us. And we've been in phase 4 now for a couple of weeks. And while most businesses that were listed in phase 4 have been able to open, there are still a few industries that have been held back by New York State and the governor. We have movies, bowling, gymnasiums, and related facilities. Driving schools has been a big issue here in Rockland County. I just want to let all of you know, we're here, not just myself, but our county executives in the Mid-Hudson region are very perplexed by some of this also. I think one of the obvious ones, frankly, is driving schools. This is, to me, a relatively simple decision. Can we have instruction or not? There's nothing more to say about it. I mean, we have typically, obviously, we have adults in the room. At least the youngest people are the ones who just have their permits. These are not 5-year-olds that we have to worry about kids running around. The room can be controlled. The distancing can be established. I had this conversation today at today's control room call and asked the obvious question: what more information is necessary? What more can be said to clarify the matter? It seems to me to be a very simple, straightforward call. It is frustrating from my perspective as your elected leader to see decisions that should be made relatively simply just out there for God knows how long. It's very, very frustrating. So I just want all of you to know that we're looking to do things a smart way, but to those businesses that remain closed, I want you to know that we're continuing to push in the New York State Control Room to have movement, give you some direction. Even at this point, give us some idea of what the timeline is. You're holding on, and I noted already that the PPP program, which is a fiscal boon for some of these companies, is running out next week. So there's some criticality of these decisions coming up right now, and we just really would like to see things opened up as safely and as quickly as possible. I'd like to first update you on some of our numbers right now, so you're aware of it. The metrics we used by New York State to determine reopening progress look very, very good here in Rockland County. Our decline in total hospitalizations continues to trend lower. We continue to see very few new hospitalizations. We see a handful at best. We are now in the area of 10 or less on a daily average. I'll remind you, we were over 300 plus at one time during this crisis. So our hospital bed capacity and our ICU bed capacity are very good and well beyond the state's minimum requirements. So we're in very good shape there. We continue to see a handful of new cases every day, typically 1% of those being tested. And it serves as a reminder that COVID-19 is here. We cannot let our guard down. It should not serve as a reminder to panic anybody. I've said this many, many times. There are people in government who tend to throw things out there, and I see it as someone who's been involved and engaged in crisis and emergency management, that there needs to be a sense of calm established when you speak about critical things, especially things that we're dealing with now. We have to learn to live with this disease, but we have to also understand to continue to take the precautions that we believe have brought us to this point. The precautions are quite simple. Face coverings. We have washing your hands regularly, 20 seconds soaping up and rinsing, and maintaining a social distance. Now, it's not rocket science, folks. I think those 3 things would work for any type of virus, a flu or a cold. We'll become a healthier society when this is all said and done the way it's going. But at the end of the day, like I've said before, we have 2 choices. We can stay home and do nothing, or we can live. I choose to live. I think most people, when they stop and realize that this is a disease, a virus that we can't beat with a vaccine yet. We don't know if we have a natural immunity yet. Unlike the measles, where we had those tools in our toolbox, we don't have them now. So we have to go through our life now, for the time being, waiting for a vaccine, which I'm sure one will come, but also trying to live our lives right now and do it as safely as we can, and that is critically important. I want everybody to understand that. The few cases we are seeing are well within the ability of our Department of Health to track and investigate, and that's very, very important. That's the contact traces that we've talked about. Their job is when somebody tests positive or gets sick, we are able to contact them. We're able to ask them and find out where they have been, so we can let other people know that they may have come in contact with, to be very careful, to be more alert to any symptoms, to practice maybe a double down on your own personal hygiene as far as keeping you away from people, maybe loved ones. Those things are very important. So when you do that, you interrupt the virus, and that's the goal of the health department contact tracers. Look, we have made incredible progress these past few months. You remember what it was like 3 months ago, 2 months ago. I mean, it looked like the end was not in sight. I have faith we'll continue in that same direction. All I ask for people is to please be part of the larger community here in Rockland County. Practice these basic steps that, again, seemingly have worked quite well. Let's stay with it as long as they are working well, and we will come out of this on the other side. So right now, I'm going to turn this over to my proverbial man behind the curtain, John Lyon, my communications director, who's been fielding your questions today, and we'll have at it. John?
Okay, we'll get right into it today. First, thank you, everyone who wrote in. Our first question today asks for an update on the schools and any reopening plans as we move later into the summer here.
Correct, okay. Well, as most do know, school districts and county government and town government, they're all separate entities. But we do work with our partners in government, including the schools. On Monday, July 13th, the New York State Education Department issued guidance to school districts. School districts must now submit New York's plans, specific reopening plans, to New York State by Friday, July 31st. That's a week from this Friday, okay? New York State will then make decisions on reopening before Friday, August 7th. So this is a type of thing we need to see. We have dates, we have timelines established. That's exactly what I was referring to earlier, where leaving things open without a guidance as timelines, that's very difficult. Here is something tangible that everybody can understand and act upon and check upon also. Let me be very clear about this. If you stop and think about this, this is not a simple process. The plans being created by the local school districts must address a myriad of issues. We have issues such as the number of students and staff allowed to return in person. That's number one. Considering factors like ability to maintain physical distancing. That's number two. PPE, personal protection equipment, and cloth face mask availability. The ability for a young person to actually wear that mask. Availability of safe transportation. Again, some of the steps taken in the schools could have a dramatic effect on transportation in your buses. Not to mention the fact that obviously in the buses they cannot be full. Local hospital capacity. School-wide cleaning, including classrooms, restrooms, cafeterias, libraries, playgrounds, and the buses. Without diving too much deeper into specifics, I can tell you that Rockland BOCES, under the stewardship of Dr. Mary G. Marsico, have been working closely with all our local school districts. If you'd like to see the specific recommendations issued by the state, they are available on the Forward New York website. That is forward.ny.gov, forward.ny.gov. They did recently convene a stakeholders work group of more than 100 school administrators, educators, health and safety experts, mental health clinicians, transportation planners, facilities personnel, communication strategists, government officials, community-based organizations, parents, and community members. Yes, that's how involved this is. That alone should tell you we have almost a Congress of stakeholders here to try to get this done. But the thing is, they're being inclusive, and I think that's something that we all feel have comfort with. They've also set up a Reopening Our Schools page on their website over at BOCES, where the latest information will be posted as we move forward. We will include this link in the page, on this page, in the comments section after this video does conclude.
Okay. And there's a lot of information there, both on the Forward website and the BOCES website about this. The next question involves a visit to a local grocery store and a children's entertainment center type of location. The person writing in witnessed many people who were not wearing masks,
right,
and did report it to the local police department. Right. But what more can be done about it?
All right. Well, first of all, reporting it to the local police department is the best course of immediate action, because the police, first of all, are out there, and they can roll on these calls, obviously by virtue of the fact they are in radio cars. but also they have the specific authority to enforce the governor's orders. So it's an ideal move. When you bring the police into the mix, they're going to try to educate people. They're not running around looking to arrest people for not wearing a mask. Their job is going to be to try to make this work and explain to people what they're doing is not correct, and to urge them to comply with what the governor's orders are. If there's not a response by law enforcement, oh, by the way, and once they do that, if they have to take any kind of action, a report is made, that now brings in town or village government. And this is where things can start to work. And we're going to actually touch on this. I think we had another question on one particular location, that since that call came in, we actually had some information that showed how this actually can work out. But you can also report it to your town supervisor. You can report it to your village mayor as they oversee the police departments, and may be able to take additional actions through their building departments. Again, one more strategy that has been used in a variety of these towns. I know my good friend George Holman in the town of Clarkstown has utilized the building department. So it depends on the type of complaint. So what you should do also, as another option, if you have something that is a routine occurrence, something that's a static issue, this would be another good way to go. The New York State Pause Hotline, and their number is 833-789-0470, 833-789-0470. It's a 24/7 operation. They are able to take in emails also, but just call them and get the information that concerns you to them, and they will pick it up from there. In terms of action from the county level of government, our Rockland County Department of Health continues to send COVID-19 notices of complaint and educational information to the New York State Department of Health and for the CDC about the specific complaints at any organization about which a complaint is received. The health department here, by and large, we have been working with our municipalities, our towns, and our villages. We always do that as a matter of course, but now it's even more critical that we do that well. The Department of Health's mission is very similar to what it was before COVID-19, and they will assist as they can to any other efforts that are being headed up by the local municipalities. The complaints received also are shared with the appropriate police department, town, village for awareness and response as necessary. If we get something here, we will get that information out to law enforcement and get it out to the municipality that is affected. And we'll continue to work with our municipal partners to address anything that falls under our jurisdiction. And again, I cannot emphasize this enough. We work together. We've had a number of instances of late where that has occurred. We had one gym that was bounced, I think it was, at Valley Cottage. A lot of complaints from folks out there, and I do appreciate that you bring this forward to us. But right now there is current court cases pending. There was action taken by the town of Clarkstown. The health department has been working with the town on this matter. So again, we're working together to get this done. But again, the goal here is to, and our main role in the health department is to continue educating people on the New York Forward reopening plan guidelines, along with the importance of things that we spoke about: wearing face coverings, social distancing, and cleanliness of your hands, and keeping your hands from your face. That's how you can spread the contagion very easily. These good habits will allow us to continue to move forward in a responsible and healthy manner, and we will follow a motto, as I've said this from day one, regardless of how all this shakes out. Our motto is safety first and people always. That is how we conduct ourselves. That is how we make decisions.
Okay. And our next question touches on a specific example that shows sort of how this process works. This person wrote in about the new bingo store which opened in Spring Valley, in the Spring Valley Marketplace. I'm sure people who are active on social media have seen posts claiming that many people in the store weren't wearing masks. What's going to be done about that, this person asks, as the governor has frequently said that local authorities aren't doing their jobs.
Guess what? Local authorities did their job. This is what I was referring to a little bit earlier. Whoever called us in probably did not see the news today, or maybe he's not on social media. The complaints were heard loud and clear. They were not ignored. Again, just to clarify one thing, law enforcement nor anybody else has the authority nor the ability to just walk into a place because of a citation or a complaint and close a place down. The health department can under extreme circumstances, but they even have to apply to the court for a warrant, for a court order to do so. So it's not, there's a need for the courts to be involved, and frankly, that's a good thing. I think if we take a step back, we understand that the courts are there for a reason, to ensure that what's being done is being done not on a whim, but based upon probable cause and true need. But this was heard loud and clear by the Village of Spring Valley, which ordered the store closed for failure to adhere to COVID-19 mandates related to facial coverings, social distancing, and overcrowding that happened yesterday morning. They also did not have a state-mandated COVID-19 reopening plan. That's mandatory. Every business is supposed to file one of those. They did not do that. So there was a flouting of the laws, so to say. These issues have reportedly been corrected by store management. Journal News reported that the store submitted a reopening plan to Spring Valley late yesterday afternoon, and that they were educating employees on enforcing face coverings and social distancing. Additionally, the store's reopening plan now states that they will allow only 50% maximum capacity with monitors in place to enforce these guidelines. Now, let's be clear about this. What I just said, most stores are doing. I go shopping regularly. I go to ShopRite, Stop and Shop, the Chico's here in New City. So I go to these stores, and these stores have been actively, even Home Depot, have been actively engaged in having people stationed to monitor how many people are coming into the store. When it gets to a point where you are at a certain capacity, they wait for 3 people to come out to let 3 people come in. So this is not an unusual scenario. But I have to give a well done to our mayor, Alan Simon, the Village of Spring Valley, the Spring Valley Police Department for their efforts, because they acted to correct the issues. And that's exactly what we're speaking of. Your government will do this, but we have to have the opportunity from you. When you get information, get it to the right places. We spoke about before, be as detailed as possible. That is very, very helpful. Spring Valley has made it clear they're going to continue to monitor the situation, and within the store, if there are any other violations, they're going to be, please report them to the Village of Spring Valley. Again, I gave the PAWS hotline number up. I'll give it again, and this is one you can call. This is an ideal scenario where you can actually call the PAWS hotline, because it's not a group of people walking down the street and will be out of your sight within a matter of 5 minutes because they're not wearing masks. This is an everyday occurrence at the same location, an ideal place to call the PAWS hotline on when these type of violations become egregious. So again, that number is 833-789-0470, 833-789-0470.
Okay. Thank you. These are all the questions that were submitted before the noon deadline today. I know a few came in afterwards, and I did my best to respond to them through the Facebook page. So thank you to everyone who was able to.
Nobody commented on my haircut?
No one commented on your haircut.
Okay. Okay, well, again, I thank you all for sharing your concerns, because our job here is to address them and try to, make some sense out of some trying times that we're going through. But like I said, things are getting better. I think anybody who is fair about where we were and where we are, that we are in much better shape now than we were. And you remember we talked about that 3 or 4 months ago. We spoke about the challenges. We spoke about the resiliency of the people of Rockland County and the things that we're capable of doing if we believe in ourselves and believe in that we will get to where we have to be. And that we'll be strong when it's all said and done. I still believe that. I'm proud to be a county executive, especially during turbulent times such as this, because this is when we see the best in what we're all about. But before we adjourn, just a couple of
We just got a thumbs up on your haircut.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But now, before we do adjourn for the week, we've been through some difficult times, as I said. But majority of people here in Rockland County are doing the right thing. I know we tend to focus on someone who's not paying attention to the rules, and the concerns range from annoyance to an absolute fear that you're risking somebody's life. And those two feelings are real. There's no getting around. There's no questioning that. But we realize that the guidelines are not perfect. It's the best we have right now, but it has brought us back from what we can see from a terrible situation that we were experiencing in March, April, and May. A couple of other items to note. I've mentioned this one before also, but I think it warrants mentioning again. Our Department of Social Services is looking to recruit foster parents. They're holding a virtual informational meeting every 4th Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. The next one coming up is tomorrow, Wednesday, July 22nd. For more information on registering, please contact Department of Social Services, DSS, at 845-364-3527, 364-3527, or email us at the address that we'll post on the comment section below. I would ask you this. Many times we're often looking for some additional reasons in our life, just to make our lives better. We all have a shelf life, obviously, and there are things that we can do that have a permanent impact upon another person, and there is not, I don't think, a greater gift that you could give than something as special as that. So if you're considering this, or if you want to consider this, becoming something important in a child's life, please contact our social services. Even if you're not sure, if you just want to listen, join in on the virtual event that's going on tomorrow, and there will be accepting applications. Obviously, if you feel a desire, they'll brief you. They'll give you a sense of what it's all about. So if you have questions and you're of a mind to do this, I would really strongly suggest that you consider that. I really do. DSS is also accepting applications for the Child Care Subsidy Program. Look, we're doing everything we can do here in county government to support our residents and our businesses and facilitate a reopening in line with our safety first, people always motto. We recognize the difficulties of working and managing child care, and the program goes a long way to helping those who are most in need. The Department of Social Services gets $8.7 million in funding, most of it's federal funding, some state funding, to provide child care subsidies to working families at little or no cost. The Child Care Subsidy Program provides payments to safe and reliable licensed daycare programs on behalf of families. The program covers full-time, part-time, after-school, summer, and non-traditional hours. And typically your qualifications will come if you're about 200% of the federal poverty level. So more people are eligible than maybe they may think. So to apply for this subsidy, you can call our DSS at 845-364-3797. Again, 364-3797. So let's try it again. 364-3797. And you will be pre-screened to receive an application. And for additional information or general information about the program, you can send an email to the address that we will post at the end in the comment section, or you can visit our website at rocklandgov.com, rocklandgov.com, and search for the Child Care Subsidy Program. And while I'm mentioning websites, again, rocklandgov.com and rocklandgov.com has a lot of information on so many things the county government is involved in. Most people don't realize what different government entities do, but you should take a look. And take a look at the variety of services that are offered, things that we do on a regular basis here in county government. I'm very proud of the work we do. And also, if you're interested in getting updated information on COVID-19, we have a dashboard there on our website that is updated pretty much on a daily basis. We have GIS information. It marries in where we're seeing occurrences as compared to the health department's information. We have had a couple of clusters here in Rockland County. We had a cluster in West Nyack. We had 5 members of the same family who got infected. So again, without the capabilities that our planning department has laid out in conjunction with the health department, starting to see that 5 people together immediately would have said, oh, we have a spike. We didn't. We had a cluster, and there's the difference between the two. And of course, the folks were visited, and we did contact tracing with them. So these are the kind of things that we do. We had another situation at a senior care facility where we had 6 cases. We already are tracking down and contact tracing the folks who were infected. They were staffers, and obviously, most importantly, we're concerned about if they have other jobs in the same type of facilities. But again, right now it's well under control, and we mentioned that earlier. The other websites I'll mention is ny.gov. ny.gov. It's a New York State website. You can communicate with the executive staff there, the governor's office, if you wish. There are some people who, since you know that the decisions that are being made as far as reopenings and other limitations that have been placed, they emanate from the governor's office. They don't emanate from here. We will bring information to the governor. His job is to act upon it or not to act upon it and make the decisions he has to make. So if you have a concern in that area, that is the website you should go to. And finally, forward.ny.gov, forward.ny.gov. Much information on the reopenings, on the various phases we've been through, some of the rules and regulations, some of the policies and procedures and the mandates that are part of the reopening process as dictated by the state of New York. That information is contained within that website. So with that, I will wish you all a good afternoon and a wonderful evening tonight. And until next time, this is your County Executive Ed Day signing off.